Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists nurses with nursing board issues. Today I'm going to talk about what is the most frequent reason for a nursing board to revoke a nurse's license. And I'm going to talk generally about how most boards work. I'm not going to talk about a specific board. So this will be kind of a general overview of how most boards handle complaints, and then the process and goes into the revocation of the nurse's license. So if there is a complaint from a patient's family member, a colleague, there's a criminal incident that has to be reported, maybe some mental health issues, whatever kind of leads to the complaint, it'll go to the board, it'll get assigned to an investigator. The investigator will reach out to the nurse and ask for more information. They'll usually send some kind of questionnaire that needs to be filled out with employment information, education history, contact information, usually a written statement about whatever the complaint is about. Most of the time, there'll be some kind of interview between the investigator and the nurse. Then ultimately, if it's not disposed of at that level, it will work its way up to the board, and then the board at a board meeting will discuss the case and then make their decision as far as what the ultimate outcome is. It could be non-disciplinary, disciplinary, suspension, revocation, which are both disciplinary as well. So in my opinion, kind of the most frequent ways that a nurse's license is revoked is violating the terms of a current probation. So if a nurse, let's just say someone with substance abuse issues, goes before the board says, we're not going to take your license away. However, you're going to be monitored for, let's just say 2 years. The nurse will have to sign an agreement that says for this 2-year period, they will do certain things. So it could be random drug testing, AA participation, maybe some kind of supervision level at work. Maybe they can't pass scheduled drugs. I mean, it could be a variety of things. If the nurse is within that agreement and then just doesn't follow what's in there, then most of the time, if they may be given a second chance. If not, the board may just move forward with revocation. In most states, if they're going to revoke a nurse's license, it has to go through an appeals and hearing process. So like here in Arizona, if the board's going to revoke a license, then it then goes before a hearing in front of an administrative law judge, and then gets shot back to the board. The board can accept, reject, or modify that decision, and then ultimately the nurse's license is revoked. So first way is if they just violate the terms of whatever probation they've signed. Another way would be if there's some kind of heinous crime. Every board has the option of it's called a summary suspension. So kind of the threshold is if there is if the nurse is a imminent threat to the health, safety, and welfare of the public, the board can issue a summary suspension, which would essentially immediately suspend a nurse's license. Then it gets forwarded, to the hearing for, well, in that scenario, almost always for revocation, if there's not some kind of settlement reached between the nurse and the board or board's attorney. So if there is some kind of heinous crime, and most boards will have some kind of language about what happens if a nurse has a felony. I know here in Arizona, if a nurse is convicted of a felony, that's it. They're losing their license. Nothing I can do about it. So if the state has some kind of language that states if they get a felony, it's an automatic revocation, then that's going to happen. And the license is going to be revoked. Even if it's not a felony, if it's, maybe like I find like high publicity cases that may shed a bad light upon the nursing profession as a whole in a state can lead to the board deciding to move forward with revocation proceedings. People who have substance abuse issues, maybe diversion. So Fentanyl is like a really hot button drug right now that I find most states are going after. So if the nurse is caught diverting fentanyl or any other kind of analgesic or opiate, that could then lead to not only criminal issues, but also board issues as well. And maybe, if they're diverting it for sale, that's one thing versus just diverting a small amount for personal use. The board will take that into account as well. Mental health issues, if the nurse simply is unsafe to practice due to mental health concerns. So violating an order, heinous crime, mental health issues, substance abuse, those are the main reasons why a nurse would have their license revoked. It's very rare that a nurse would have their license revoked due to clinical issues. Unless there is an extreme pattern of clinical problems that continue and have been remediated, and then it happens again, and then there's maybe some kind of education and it happens again. That would get to the point where the board would likely act and revoke. But the percentage of nurses that have their license revoked due to ongoing clinical issues is very small. Now, if a major event happens, so if a nurse, has a major medication error that leads to the death of a patient, it's possible that could lead to revocation as well. So those are the main reasons, kind of how a nurse can have their license revoked by a nursing board. Hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always contact my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description, or reach us through our website, chellelaw.com. That's CHELLE law.com. Anyway, appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.